Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Andrew McLean with the Australian Equine Behaviour Centre, and he is currently serving as our president of ISES. And he's going to give you an introduction and a little bit of a background on what we've been doing.
Thank you very much. I must say it's an absolute pleasure to be in such beautiful and esteemed surroundings as the University of Delaware. And I'm very grateful to learn about the origin of the first state and the blue hen thing, because that was something I was wondering about. I would like to also just point out the fact that although this is an academic gathering, it is a wonderful thing to see that it really is so many friends over so many years. We began our first symposium in 2005, so we're almost 10. And we see so many faces who just keep on turning up. So there are some great friendships that arise from this conference. I want to take you through a little journey through ISES. I have deleted a few slides because we are cutting back a little bit on time. But first of all, just to introduce the council, well, that's me. But we also, if I could just get the people to stand up so you know who they are. Our junior vice president is Dr. Hayley Randall. Now, there's Hayley. And Hayley's moving into the president's chair at the AGM at the end of this conference. Our membership secretary, Leslie Hawson, couldn't be here. Orla Doherty is our treasurer, and you'll be hearing more from Orla this afternoon. Our communications officer, Elke Hartman, is Dr. Hartman here? She was coming. There's Elke. Oh, they're always with a camera. She's a wonderful photographer. Our media officer, Andrea Bailey, couldn't be here. Our research coordinator, Dr. Catalina Visser, is Kat here? No, she's not here either. Our newsletter editor couldn't be here. She's from Australia also. Our procedural advisor needs no introduction. It's Cami. Our rider representative is Jodie Hartstone. Jodie's in the audience somewhere. Jodie's always up for a chat, so feel free to catch up. Our veterinary liaison officer, Gemma Pearson, is similar, and she'll be around the traps for the 3 days. Our student representative, Rose Schofield. Is Rose here? Yep, thank you, Rose. Our education officer, Dr. Inga Wolf. Inga, there she is. You'll hear a lot from Inga, no doubt. Our ordinary council member is Michaela Monero, Dr. Monero. There she is. Thank you very much, Michaela. And our local organising committee chair, Professor Natalie Warren. Nat, are you? There she is. And this year's local organising committee, they need no introduction. So the next part I also want to just introduce to you, we have 4 honorary fellows, 2 of which are here. Our first one, Professor Jan Ladevig from Denmark. And also Professor Hilary Clayton from the USA. We're very proud of our honorary fellows, and it's a huge accolade for ISES. Now, what is equitation science? I guess that's a question we always ask. Some of you may notice that the word equitation science is sneaking into the lexicon of the general equestrian public these days, which is really exciting for us. But in some ways, we can also be a little bit misrepresented as people use it in all sorts of different ways on different websites. But nonetheless, equitation science is simply the science of training and horse riding. It's not that we're trying to turn horse riding and training into a science. It's much more that we're trying to explain what goes on in the most objective and measurable terms. So it includes the various sciences of learning theory that describes the learning processes in horses, ethology, cognition, biomechanics, psychology, sports science, physics, all sorts of areas. As you'll see, the net is widening. It's quite a broad church. Equitation science identifies those things that we can define and measure, but of course it doesn't deny other aspects that are yet to be defined and measured, and maybe there are some things we will never define and measure. But it's important that we do so, because not only do we want to improve horse-human interactions, but we need to also recognise that horses are the most dangerous animal in the Western world, and the more we get to understand what goes on in their heads and how we can best interact them, the better both horse and rider will be. Now, looking at the beginnings of ISIS, the first origins of it were a discussion. You'll hear a little bit more about this later, but a workshop in 2002 in Iceland, in which Paul McGreevy, Debbie Goodwin, who couldn't be here, and Natalie Warren participated and began to discuss about the possibility of equitation science as a discipline. The ISAE Congress in 2003 hosted a satellite meeting in which and that's where I first met everybody. I came along to talk about my PhD thesis, which was about learning principles in horse training. And from there, we decided we would have a meeting the next year at the Anthrozois Conference in Edinburgh, in Scotland. And that's where we had the idea for the very first symposium. So there it was. I built a room. I had a room built in our equestrian centre to host the symposium, imagining we'd have about 40 people turn up. We were scratching. We wanted to deliver as many papers as we could, and we were so scratching for papers that we all got together and wrote a few quickly. And so we had 8, but we didn't just have 40 people. We had 95 delegates from 6 different countries, which was a marvellous start. So we couldn't use this room I built. It was a bit of a white elephant, really. So we hired a tent, and the tent was in the middle of the indoor arena, and we had a plastic walkway out to the tent. Then we went to Italy, and we grew so fast. We had 150 delegates at that conference, and around about 80 papers presented, so things are moving very quickly. From Italy, we went to the USA, back to here, to Michigan, and that was really the beginning of ISES itself. That's where it became the International Society for Equitation Science. From there, we went to Dublin. That was a very big conference, 250 delegates. We had over 120 papers presented, and that's really I think was the beginning of equitation science becoming fairly enlarged in Europe. We returned to Australia in 2009 for the 5th conference, the 6th conference in Sweden, the 7th in the Netherlands, and that one we also had another interesting improvement for ISIS in that we joined up with the Global Dressage Forum, so we went back to back with the forum. So we felt we made a big foray into the world of the sport horse in that conference. Last year we were in Edinburgh, and this year here. Now the theme of this conference is Embracing Science to Enhance Equine Welfare and Horse-Human Interactions. We also have, and I'd like to just point your attention to this, our first meeting. So this is a regional meeting. This is not an ISIS conference, but it's a mini conference, if you like, in Rome, in Italy, in November this year. And next year, we will be in Denmark. So thank you very much. I'd like to welcome you all, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm sure we will. One of the things I'm pleased to see, although this is a slightly smaller conference in terms of the number of papers, we're able, therefore, to avail ourselves of every single paper that comes past us. So in the past, we've had so many that sometimes we've had to miss out on a few. Here, we don't need to miss out on any. But thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy it.